do my morning routine as I usually do. And if anybody has any questions while I do it, I can just do my best to answer. Now, to start out, I should show you, I'm purifying my water. That's the first thing I do in the morning. I just set that up while the camera was off. And then I put it in a jug. In fact, now I purify my water. You know, when I say purify my water, I will tell you right now that all water filters out there, unfortunately, are not able to purify water completely. And especially the thing that concerns me the most, there's a lot of things that concern me actually in the water. If I were to show you the lab tests that I've seen. Now, the first thing I'm going to do, I'm making this smoothie. So Power Shake, this is basically the nutrients. And this is from iShopPurium.com. If you want to use the same one I do. Why do I use this? Because it's all food and the body responds better to food than some random pill. You can put it in water, but I, of course, like to mix it. The reason I like to mix it with fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds, and things of that nature is because, believe it or not, there's going to be a lot of new information coming out about this, but I've already known about it, which is when it's combined with fiber, it actually helps with the absorption of nutrients. So, and if you want a discount code, you can, and you want to support the channel, then you can use the code uprising144K. But Power Shake, super important, works really good because I've been doing blood work to make sure it works good. So there we go. Now this turmeric or turmeric, however you want to pronounce it, this stuff is actually, I found it really inexpensively, all organic and highly anti-inflammatory and anti-cancerous. I really like turmeric, and it gives it kind of a nice little, kind of a interesting flavor to the smoothie, which personally I like. So as long as, if you notice, I'm always trying to get, for the most part, affordable ingredients into my smoothie that are really good for me. However, some things I just have to have, like the greens. And greens, I mean, they're kind of semi-affordable, but these days, I just can't believe how expensive they are, actually. They're just a little spendy these days, but that's okay. And then that's all I really need. However, let's see here. I like to put flax seeds, another affordable product. Yes, they have a lot of protein and good fats and good oils, but the reason, and they're affordable, the reason that I like to use flax seeds also is because I've discovered, and look, we could go down every ingredient I put in here, and we could Google all the health benefits, but the main reason is that I found, well, there's multiple, but the main one is that it's anti-cancerous. They literally use it on in studies and show that it has anti-cancerous properties. So a lot of the stuff I use is anti-cancerous because, well, unfortunately, those type of things run in many of our families. So it's good, and I think it's just good. Everybody's dealing with a lot of terrible health conditions that could potentially happen to them. I guess there's some lucky people out there once in a while. I've known some, actually. There's a guy who doesn't really super take care of himself, that I think he's like in his late 80s now, or maybe 90. He lives in a super polluted city, but he goes and runs all the time. He's really into exercise and still around. It's pretty wild. Oh yeah, and this was actually just a gift from someone. And the reason I like it, yeah, it has some nutrients, but it's actually the minerals. If I didn't put this in there, I would add my normal minerals, if you've ever seen my older videos. And, but yeah, this one is okay. Let's see if you guys have any questions. This is your time. Oh, thanks for the thumbs up. Didn't realize somebody just did that. Yeah, this is the one that gets a little spendy, but I just definitely cannot go without it, and that's greens. And if you guys have seen the latest stuff that they're trying to do to farmers, especially organic farmers, it's actually really sad. And so I don't know when we're going to continue to have access to food like this. Just an FYI for those of you who don't keep up with the latest laws and trends that are going on in the U.S., the current administration, which is the Biden administration, for those who, in the future, somebody might watch this video and be like, what? They're doing some very strange things in regards to certain rules and laws that make it dare I say, almost impossible for farmers to stay in business, which means that eventually they're probably going to have to sell their land or business. They won't be able to continue on. And I don't know if you know what that will mean, but that will mean that somebody else is going to take control. Um, hopefully I mean, if it's a government entity or whatnot, who knows what's going to happen when something like that happens, but take over the food supply, and that will cause a lot of problems. Because me personally, I'm extremely grateful to organic farmers because think of it, from my understanding, they don't get subsidized because they're not using chemicals really. And it's a lot harder to grow them organic. And I think it's great, you vote with your dollars, as they say. And so, and for those, and there are people out there, believe it or not, and people even in my own family who are like, oh, I don't believe in an organic farming. It really makes no difference. And then until some of my family members, until they actually saw it on Dr. Oz, because they brought in a specialist who actually tests the food and did a bunch of studies about organic versus non-organic as far as nutritional value. Then I also saw studies as far as it was pretty wild. They took families that would eat non-organic versus organic, and they would test their urine. So they would test the kids' urine, the adults, and the findings were absolutely dramatic. If I could show you guys the results, basically, I'll just tell them to you, but it would be nice to show you the visuals because basically what they did find is that, people are peeing out a lot of pesticides, and the family was basically, all this urine was full of pesticides, and what that ultimately means, and we know that these pesticides, and I will say, look, I'm not giving any medical advice, I'm not making any claims, so let's leave that at that. But I'll say a lot of pesticides. They'll probably say not all of them, so I'll just say okay, some have been shown, which they're trying to legalize some of them, to potentially cause cancer. And so if they're going through your kidneys and your liver and your blood, so they're in your blood, um, it's pretty nasty. And some people might say, well, it's too expensive to buy organic, which, by the way, I've been in that boat myself. And the problem is that the medical, not just the cost of medical would be astronomical, even if you have insurance, co-pays, deductibles, but forget the money. What about the suffering? I've seen, man, I just seen way too much suffering when it comes to these type of conditions. And it's, to be quite honest with you, it's very sad. It's very sad what happens. And you're out in the world and you just know that everybody's eating this stuff. And so I'm grateful that, and gratitude for some reason tends to bring more joy. For some reason, I don't know why being grateful makes you happier. But I am grateful that there are actually organic farmers out there. And I think that is personally a beautiful thing. And hopefully in the future, which I think things will change into a positive direction in the future. Let's hope. I feel like we're in a fork in the road, so we're going to go one way or the other. And one way or another, I guess we're going to be okay. Humanity somehow makes it every time. Maybe. We're still here, right? So, yeah, so I'm grateful for organic farmers. And although these greens can be kind of spendy, really, I'm a little surprised how much they can be. But you just got to do it. They're super good for you. The science on them is incredible. I mean, they're basically your medicine. What is that famous saying? Let your food be thy medicine. I mean, ain't that the truth? At least that's what I've seen, and the science actually supports it too. It's really got to look at a lot of data. I'm data driven, and that's just because I like to have facts and I don't like to be guessing and stuff like that. Too many shenanigans out there is what it is, I'll tell you that. Too many shenanigans. We live in a world full of shenanigans, which makes it really difficult, which is kind of the whole reason I did my channel. I put way too much work and effort and research to try to figure out what's real and what's a shenanigan. And that's kind of what I share with you guys. I share with you guys what I have found to actually be something that is, again, real, something that really works. Somebody was actually, well, this happens all the time actually, but somebody was sending me a message about numerous different water products. I was like, oh, how about this water product? Is this any good? How about this one, Hydrogen Man? Is this one better than hydrogen? And it's like, not according to the data. And you got to go off data because there's things that pop up. There's like these quote unquote trends and things that pop up, and then they just fade out, and then something else pops up, and then a lot of times, what you end up finding is that a lot of these supposed health products. This is the one that kind of is borderline upsetting, but also very sad because they take advantage of people's lack of understanding. Is that a lot of this stuff ends up being actually bad for you. So now you're paying for a product that's supposed to be good for your health, and it's really not good for you. Like, for example, bottled water. A lot of people are like, oh, bottled water, so great. Well, if you've seen the lab tests on bottled water, it ain't good, guys. It ain't good at all, actually. Full of microplastics. In fact, that's appears to be one of our number one sources of microplastics. It's just water in general, which is the reason that I carbon distill, because carbon distillation removes everything. And then we really need a lot of help as far as free radicals and all sorts of stuff. And that's why the hydrogen, which I know you guys didn't see it because I didn't turn on the camera. Um, but basically, I drank 1 liter of hydrogen water on an empty stomach after I cleaned my mouth. And some people, they don't even understand that. I mean, I didn't either. So I'm not, it's just the things that I know these days. If you don't clean your mouth in the morning, basically just take a toothbrush with water, no toothpaste, and just brush your teeth for like, 10, 20 seconds real quick. And the inner surfaces of your mouth, so the inner lining of the cheeks, the roof of your mouth, your tongue, because the Japanese, leave it to them again, they discovered that we literally grow cancer-causing bacteria in our mouth while we sleep. So when you swallow water or food or anything, you literally are ingesting this bacteria. And it can also cause a lot of other issues. In my opinion, we're going to discover more and more, but a lot of that bacteria, I think it just wreaks havoc on our health, to be quite honest with you guys. So here are my wonderful washed greens. Okay, let's see if anybody has a question. Somebody says, I feel like the organic Costco greens are pretty affordable for the quantity you get. You know what? And that's a really good point, because I try to do a lot of my shopping at Costco because they literally have the same exact greens as other places, and they are cheaper. And it adds up, especially when you use as many as I do. But it adds up. I find them to be between $1 and $3 cheaper per package. And yeah, and then if you can't get them there, then you go to other places. And even if I was paying, unfortunately, a lot for them, I just would. These smoothies that are making, I'll tell you, throughout the years, so many people who have tried them, the things that they've done are actually a little miraculous. And even recently, this will shock you. I almost feel like there's scientists watching my channel, because I'm not kidding you. Since I've been doing all this, there's been studies that have literally been done on exactly my methods, from smoothies to adding minerals in the smoothies like I did, so the fiber of the fruits and vegetables and how they work. I'm telling you, that's going to be the next big trend. They're going to try to sell you fiber supplements. Like, they're really going to start pushing that in the future, because there's even some potential new research, guys. This is pretty wild. Maybe I should do a video on it. Everybody's always so hyper focused on protein, and yes, protein's important. I think we all understand that. We're pretty much made of protein. However, this new research shows that it literally might be more important to consume the right amount of fiber than even protein. If you can even imagine that, they're like, what? Fiber's more important than protein? Because it's doing so many things. There's so many functions that are being discovered that fiber does. It's bonkers. And I believe that they even suppressed, well, I mean, I'm already quite confident on this, actually, because there was a study that they're literally suppressing, I'll just say appears to be suppressing, certain information that we knew a long time ago. There were studies done a long time ago on fiber. And the things that we discovered, they literally said in this study, the findings were, yes, they were amazing, but more so, they just said, you know what, it just wouldn't be possible for a human to consume the correct amount of fiber. Now, that I don't believe that's true at all. Now, if you're the average human, meaning you're somebody who wakes up and has a bagel and coffee or muffin and coffee, and you think, that's going to be good enough, yeah, that's not going to be, you're not going to be, if you're the average person and you go to McDonald's or you go to one of these places to get food, or you eat the average American diet, some cereal with milk or whatever, yeah, you're not going to be able to get that amount of fiber. It takes a lot of effort to get the right amount of fiber, hence the smoothie. I mean, that's literally the reason that this thing is, I mean, I don't want to call it like amazing, like I'm doing anything amazing, because I'm not. I'm just throwing the stuff in there. I mean, look, what about all the farmers that grew this food and the earth which produced it? I mean, to me, that's more amazing. I mean, that's the miracle. I'm, like I said, I'm just grateful that I have access to it, because not everybody will have access to such produce. And the reason I started doing the smoothie was just because it was actually due to some research from Japan, and I kind of created this concoction. And of course, the ingredients, like blueberries, are so ridiculously good for your vascular system. It's like unreal. And if you guys, I don't know if you understand what your vascular system is, but I'm trying to keep it real simple here for you guys. And also, it's been shown to be anti-angiogenic. So basically, let's just say anti-cancerous. And yes, blueberries can be expensive, which I would never ordinarily be able to add them into my smoothie all the time, but I found them frozen, organic, and actually affordable. I mean, I get a whole bag of that for like $8. So that's very, very affordable. All right, let's see. Next person says, Leo, hi, can you suggest a manufacturer of certified magnesium bars? Leo, I would definitely not use magnesium bars. I know that people try to use them to make hydrogen. Really bad idea. I'll tell you right now that actual professionals, like in Japan, there's a doctor. He is not only a neurosurgeon, neuroscientist, and a hydrogen specialist. And he himself definitely uses hydrogen. He only recommends the machine that I use, the Lourdes Hydrofix, because what people don't seem to understand about hydrogen, I know that everybody wants to do it cheap, but they don't understand that it's just like fruits and vegetables. If you want to go the cheap route, you're going to end up with pesticides in your food. The purity of the hydrogen is, let me put it this way, it's just like oxygen. So, because they're both gases. And what I mean that it's just like oxygen is, if you go to a hospital, and they do obviously use oxygen. In the future, all the hospitals are going to have hydrogen, but for right now, places in Japan do, but very few other places do. Do you think, now just think of this for your second, do you think that in the hospital they're going to have, I don't know, some type of chemical reaction to produce oxygen? Or, I mean, heck, they might just say, look, it's in the air, take some deep breaths. Or do you think it's going to be the same quality if you were to go like to a place where they do welding? They have oxygen tanks too. No, you have to understand that there's something that's called medical grade oxygen. And it's the same thing for hydrogen. There's a medical grade. Now, nobody's talking about it right now because nobody wants to talk about it. Because right now, there's a lot of businesses out there. I know they're trying to make money and they're trying to show different ways to, get some hydrogen in you and whatnot. Medical grade is basically extremely pure. And when you're dealing with gases, now we're talking about gases here. When you're talking about gases, the level of purity that you must have is so important. I don't think people really are understanding. I mean, let me give you an example. I'm going to give you an example of how important gases are, because what do you think you're breathing right now? You're breathing, let's say, for example, oxygen, right? So it's a type of gas. Okay. Now let's show you how important it is. Let's do a trivia question. Let's see if anybody gets this right, and then I'll keep reading your guys' comments here. Okay, what state in the United States do people live the longest? Now we'll see if anybody gets it right. People are probably going to Google, and I'll give you the answer here in a second. Just let people think about it for a second, or maybe I'll just tell you. Last I checked, people live the longest, and it probably fluctuates and changes and whatever, but last I checked, it was Hawaii. Now, you're like, okay, great. people live longer in Hawaii? Yippity-doo. Doesn't matter, does it? And if you guys have ever been to Hawaii, or if you know any locals, which I do, a lot of them, unfortunately, don't really actually take very good care of their health. So the question is, if they're not taking very good care of their health, how is it that they're living longer? Now I'm getting to the point because we were talking about gases. So, and by the way, right now I'm making some chia seeds. I mean, these things are full of minerals, full of fiber, calcium, iron, omegas, protein. I mean, and they're cheap. This whole bag lasts me a long time. Now, the cool thing about it is, not only do you need fiber, boy, do you need water. So most people are either chronically dehydrated and also deficient in the amount of fiber that they're getting, let alone all the minerals and everything else that they need. So this is a very simple, inexpensive, and relatively delicious. I mean, they don't have a huge flavor, but I like the texture. So anyway, back to Hawaii. So why in the world would they live the longest in Hawaii? Nobody really could figure it out. Honestly, I think I figured it out. I'll tell you the answer. What state in the United States has the cleanest air? Hawaii. So the cleanest air, meaning the cleanest gases, here we're talking about, I'm trying to tell you about medical grade gases, which have to do with purity. It appears to be extremely important. I'm going to tell you right now that in my opinion, two of the most important things, there's a lot of different important things, but two of the most important things for your health, quote unquote, and longevity and, well, just health, is clean air, which I carbon distill, cleanest water practically in the world is what I have, and clean air. Clean air, clean water, guys. What a surprise, huh? What a surprise. Then what? Then we go into clean foods. And of course, if you have hydrogen, well, geez, I mean, that definitely takes you to a whole other level. You know, they did some research on longevity and hydrogen. Now, it was done on animals, but you definitely see the difference. So, okay, let's keep going here. So yeah, I would not use those magnesium sticks one bit. Just so you know, that's what they put in the hydrogen pills. They put magnesium, but what it actually is, it's a metallic magnesium. And I'll tell you right now, I've seen the lab reports, and after I saw the lab reports, there's a reason that I will never, ever, ever take those things again. I took them in the past, and after knowing what's in them, I personally think it's complete foolishness and stupidity, and I can't believe that there's people that even recommend them because it's horrific what's in there. I just what you know what I'm going to do because I don't want to make claims and all that. I'm going to see if I can get an actual lab report that I can actually show you guys because the lab report. See, this is what happens. That I see a lot of lab reports, but people have quote unquote rights to them because they were done by, for example, the company itself or whatever, and they reserve the right to basically not have to share those with you know people who actually buy those products. So there's a reason. So I found out that that doctor that I was just mentioning that only will use literally only the hydrofix, which is kind of wild actually. It's really weird in the world of hydrogen that there's like very, very few machines that are even what I would consider safe to use, or products in general. I just find that kind of odd because in carbon distillation, that's not the case. Ozone machines, that's not the case. But you still have to find the right ones. There's still some that are better than others and whatnot that I would still try to get quality over everything. Because when it comes to your health, I mean, you just, to be quite honest with you guys, I'm just tired of suffering. I'm like exhausted. I just cannot take any more suffering. There's like no more. I cannot do this anymore. I've unfortunately suffered a lot through my life, and I'm sure there's a lot of people who have. Oops, dropped my delicious beets. I like beets when they're raw. Some people like them cooked, and they're okay when they're cooked, but when they're raw, they're like crunchy and sweet. But you wouldn't want to bite into it like an apple. But when you put it into smoothies, I don't know, it just works. So yeah, I would not use those products. Now, the reason I was bringing the whole doctor, the guy who only uses the hydrofix, is because one of the things that he's explaining is he's like, look, this particular gas, meaning hydrogen gas, literally goes right by the blood-brain barrier. He said, and again, he's a neurosurgeon, guys. I mean, if anybody knows anything about the medical field, these are like top dogs in the medical field, okay? The guys that work on brains. And when it comes to gases, especially something like hydrogen, he's apparently explaining that because they go past the blood-brain barrier, it is so crucially important that it is of extreme high purity. Otherwise, at least in my opinion, we know that you don't want things going past the blood-brain barrier. Like a little stuck with that one. Because it could probably cause more problems than it will solve, okay? So that's why I'm so about purity. If you can't do hydrogen properly, then do other things. Clean water, clean diet, stuff of that nature. Okay, moving on to the next question. Sorry, Leo. Kayla Berta says, and I don't recommend any of them. They're all from China, by the way. Okay, Kayla says, how long does the distilled water last on the counter from the distiller you have? How long does it last? I don't know if you're talking about the machine or the water, but the water lasts a very long time. So here's an interesting thing too you're going to discover through time and research, which I'll just give you the answer. You're going to discover that, guess what? Water does go bad. I don't know if people know this, but water does go bad. So the higher the purity, the longer it lasts. And that goes for distilled water. And that also goes for things like honey. Being super, super clean and pure, honey will last a very long time. So purity has to do with longevity. And so that water will last, man, it lasts a long time. I mean, I've seen it be good for months. And the thing is that I always end up using it way before it ever goes bad because, I mean, look, I do this smoothie. I know everybody's gonna think this is weird because even my own family thinks it's weird, but I do it every day. Every morning I wake up, this is my breakfast. And I'll tell you, it starts making you feel so flippin' good. And I'm not the only one. I've got other people hooked on this. I'm thinking of a story right now. There was a girl, boy, this poor girl. She had so many GI issues, couldn't figure it out. Numerous doctors, countless amount of money, by the way. I mean, just ridiculous amounts of money. She's not even the only one. There's actually multiple stories like this, but I'm thinking of this one girl in particular because she had all these GI issues, and we're talking about people with like Crohn's disease, IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. We're talking about people with celiac disease, all sorts of gut issues. So many people, leaky gut, so many people have gut issues. And of course, sometimes you really need to heal it, and hydrogen's magical. This girl, I got her on the super clean water with hydrogen, and she changed up her diet, but mostly was just clean water, hydrogen, and these smoothies in the mornings. That was like the main thing that she changed. And her doctors, by the way, throughout the years, different doctors kept telling her, well, we should probably do surgery. Mostly surgery was what they were suggesting. They did not know how to solve her issue. And personally, I think that if she would have gone through the surgery, I don't think it would have resolved anything. In fact, I think it would have just probably caused more problems. But so many problems, right, with constipation and diarrhea and stomach pains, and this poor girl was just suffering. Now I say suffering, I mean, if you were to compare it to some of the suffering that other people have gone through, or even myself, yeah, okay, it wasn't to that level, but it was not good. All those issues are gone. Literally, she said, all the doctors and all the specialists and everything, nobody could solve it. Clean water, hydrogen, and smoothies. That was it. I mean, can you believe that? I don't think she was getting enough fiber either, in my opinion. But it's not like she didn't eat relatively healthy for a very large part of her life. And even then, it just didn't matter. Couldn't solve this problem, though I think hydrogen played a big role. I mean, hydrogen is so amazing, especially for the GI. Super, super amazing. I've seen it do some crazy things for people who made also some very small changes in their lifestyle and diet. But anyway, so these smoothies, and it's not just a smoothie, it's just this produce. How many of us would sit down and have this for breakfast? I mean, I wouldn't. I'm not going to have celery sticks and carrots and a beet and flax seeds, and I wouldn't have all this stuff for breakfast. I just wouldn't. Unfortunately, it's very unfortunate, but that's the truth of the matter. Okay, let me see if I can answer more of your guys' questions. Sorry. So how long does it last on the counter? I would say, gosh, months, I would think. Okay. As far as the machine, they pretty much last for like ever. They're really high quality machines if that's what you were asking. Okay, Amy. Now the ones that I use, because the ones I use are American made. I've had the Chinese ones before. They don't quite make the water taste the same. And then I found out this company does actual lab testing on their products, and they've modified their carbon distillers to work better. Okay, how do you explain to people who have been carnivore for years and are perfectly healthy? I am asking genuinely because I'm considering carnivore for health reasons. All right, Amy, how can I explain it? Okay, the first sad thing is I did a video, I haven't even released it because I wasn't sure if I should. I had somebody very close to me. I hate to say that I've been quite sad lately because there's been some terrible things happen to people who are close to me lately. And this particular guy, who basically I've known literally since the day I was born, pretty much was family, if you want to just call it that, really. He was overweight, not hugely overweight either, but he was overweight, and he went on the carnivore diet. He's like, I'm going to get healthy. And of course, he wouldn't listen to me. So I just kind of let that go. You know, there's a lot of people, it's probably you all experience too in your families, that just won't listen to you. So he did not listen to me. So he went on the carnivore diet. Boom, he lost weight. He actually looked really good. And he was like, hey, look, I lost weight, doing fantastic. Then he got off the diet, right? Now that he had lost his weight and he was all happy. So he gets off the carnivore diet, starts gaining weight again. So he immediately stops and literally goes right back on the carnivore diet. And he's like, I'm just going to stay on this diet. And he did it for definitely over a year. And he was carnivore that whole time. And I don't know how, I think it was about 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks now, something like that. I've just kind of been losing my mind lately as far as times and dates. And I got a very sad, phone call that he died. And I was so saddened by it. And I was thinking, what the heck happened? Turns out that diet appears to have caused him to have a heart attack, because it affects certain like cholesterol more specifically. But what you have to hear, and let me explain too, because you're saying explain why some people can get so healthy. I'll tell you why, in my opinion, they get healthy on the carnivore. And look, I'm not saying I'm against a modified carnivore diet, because I'll explain that in a second. So why or how can I explain it? Well, first of all, they stop eating all this other food. So they stop eating. See, what people don't realize, and I could show you, I could grab all sorts of stuff in this kitchen right now and start showing you. What you need to realize is that the ingredients that they're putting in processed food. See, when you buy meat, you're just getting one ingredient, meat. Let's say you were to buy, like, I don't know, smoked jerky or something, and you look at the ingredients and you see that they put sugar in there or some other stuff. Okay. So when you go on carnivore, you're literally eliminating, most likely, all the stuff or a lot of stuff that is actually causing you harm. So great. And then you're literally avoiding a lot of sugar. See, I think personally, I hate to say it's a conspiracy, but I kind of think personally that it is. As Americans, we are actually subsidizing sugar. We are literally using taxpayer money to fund sugar. And not only that, did you guys know, this is shock probably some people out there, did you know that we're actually subsidizing sugar for Mexico also? Why in the world would we use our taxpayer money to subsidize sugar for another country? It doesn't even to me, it doesn't even make sense that we subsidize it at all. Some company wants to make sugar and sell it, fine. So then what you want to do, now if you don't believe me, this is why there's so much proof. This is why, in my opinion, this is basically a fact almost. Remember, I don't make any claims around here, but go ahead and look at labels. Go ahead and grab almost anything in your kitchen and start looking at things that you buy at the store and see if it has sugar, high corn fructose corn syrup, cane sugar, honestly, any kind of sugar. It doesn't matter, because it's all processed. sugar is supposed to be paired, now, in my opinion, primarily paired with fiber. That's why, like in a banana or an apple or something, it works synergistically. When you process it and you just take out this one ingredient, it's not good. In fact, this is going to shock you too. There's some new research now because people don't realize that all sugar is not the same. And so they finally did a study on processed sugar. You're not going to believe this. It literally shows that it acts like cyanide in the body very, very slowly. So it's almost like you're slowly getting poisoned. So when people go carnivore, they're eliminating all the sugar, primarily processed stuff. That's why I think there's benefit. Now, what people don't realize about the carnivore diet, and if you do the research, you'll find it. And even big proponents, it makes me laugh because I've seen people say some pretty, like, in my opinion, foolish things. They're like, oh, plants are trying to kill you. Plants are horrible for you. I mean, you just got to look at the research. It's like clear as day. It baffles me that people have some of these opinions. And I'm not against meat. So again, I just think life all in moderation. Life is about balance. So what ends up happening is there was a guy who wrote a book, Only Carnivore, eat nothing but meat. Well, that guy changed his tune now. Now, if you were to eat meat and vegetables, that would be different. You need the fiber. I'm telling you right now, you need the fiber. You cannot just eat meat forever. The other big problem with people's research, especially when they're trying to, like, if I wanted to twist the research just to make, just to convince people, I could, or just to convince myself, but I don't do that. I look at the actual facts. And what I mean by that is there is such a difference as looking at short-term research and long-term research. Short-term data on carnivore diet looks really good. I mean, really good. It's the long-term that does not look good. Same thing, believe it or not, happened with those Kangen machines that I cannot believe they're still selling to this date, because in Japan they discovered in the short term, they looked really good. And everybody was like, oh my God, this stuff's like a miracle. What's going on with this magic water from these Kangen machines? And of course, it became a huge business, a huge fad, and it just went out into the world, and now it's just out there. Well, what ended up happening is in the long-term research, it did not look good. It started causing GI issues, and they couldn't understand why, because the whole thing was about alkaline water. Well, it turns out that it was never about alkaline water. Okay, the benefits were not coming from the pH of the water. If you wanted alkaline water, you could just literally put baking soda in water, and voila, you got alkaline water. Turns out that those machines were by accident, literally inadvertently. They didn't even know that they were doing them. Now they're trying to claim they're hydrogen machines because it turns out they were making some hydrogen. That's where the short-term benefits came in. When you first start using the machine, what people, of course, don't realize is that in time, those machines stop making hydrogen, of course, and then you got to clean them and do all this stuff to them to try to make them make hydrogen again. The biggest problem is that hydrogen is what's called pH neutral. So if you have a machine that's making the water alkaline, you're not actually making hydrogen correctly or in its pure form, which is what the data shows. That's why the Hydrofix became the #1 machine in Japan, because they followed all the new data. They discovered their mistakes. And, we're going to make mistakes along the way. And clearly we have. But I've looked at some long-term data, for example, on hydrogen, especially when you do it right. It's beautiful. You should see it literally. It's literally transforming the way the body works. It's unbelievable, actually. That's a whole other conversation. So I don't know if that answers your question about the whole carnivore diet thing. As far as data is concerned, I have seen some, and as far as I can see, I would not eat meat more than once a day, every other day. And if you do that with proper amounts of vegetables and everything else, it can be a very healthy thing. Personally, if I were to consume meat, I would actually, I like to use the bone and the actual meat and put it in water, like when you're cooking stews, and pull out all the nutrients and let the water bring those nutrients to the body without having to do the load of the meat on the body, the difficulty of digestion of it. And also, it's just kind of dirty. I could show you some other, or I could just tell you about some data that I read that was really quite fascinating, actually, about meat. If you consume it too much or too often, as compared to doing it like in intervals, like I was explaining. And it's fascinating because the long-term effects of eating basically just nothing but meat, ends up not being very good for your GI. Causes some other issues. Okay, I'm gonna blend this up and I'll keep answering your questions. So let's just give me a second. Not sure if you guys can still hear me. Let's see actually what the next question is. Look at Amy. All right. So you retracted a message, Amy. People are getting scared after a while. All right. And this is the only other nutrient that I have to add, and that's vitamin D3 with K2. Vitamin D, if you were to look at the latest research from the top researcher in the world, he's actually a top doctor who runs an entire hospital. Give me 1 second. We're almost done, and then I'll be able to answer some of your guys' questions. But yeah, people are guessing Florida. I don't know if I saw anybody say Hawaii, but yeah, it was Hawaii. Almost done. You can kind of feel it when it's still blending. Actually, well, I'd ask if you guys can hear me while this is blending, but it's almost over. I can really hear it chopping stuff up still, though, and that means that I end up having chunks in my smoothie, and I don't like chunks. I like it to be really nice and blended. Now I'm going to put an ingredient in here that will ironically make me test positive, most likely, on a drug test, if you can believe that. But it's so nutritious. Here, I'll show you in a second. All right, that should be good. Okay, so vitamin D, this thing's almost empty. So normally I like to put, it depends because I get blood work and it depends on the amount of vitamin D in my system. So I'm always modifying it because I mean, I've gone as high as, 20,000 IUs in a day and then to 10,000 IUs and then all of a sudden 5,000 IUs. Lately, I've been to about 2 or 3,000 IUs. And I'll tell you right now, the proper amount of vitamin D in your body is unreal. It got me, I won't, since we're not allowed to say certain things on quote unquote YouTube or whatever. I'll just say that it's been amazing for my health. And this is that ingredient, the hemp hearts. There's some new research showing that some people are literally testing positive on drug tests if you consume hemp hearts, if you can believe that. But they're the most well-balanced omegas in the world. So ironically, it's the most well-balanced protein in the world, and it's not even meat or fish. Really good omegas. And if you look at the nutrients list on it, it's unbelievable. It literally looks like a multivitamin. This thing doesn't seem like it's of this world. Something in regards to hemp. They're just, stuff is just insane as far as how good it is for you. Okay, let me bring the camera over here. And then, like I said, I'll answer some of your guys' questions. Now I have more time to read. I'm just trying to plug in the phone here, the camera, because, oh, thanks for all the thumbs up, by the way. You guys are too kind. In fact, I should, but let's see here. Okay, let's get this phone charging. There we go. All right, let's see if we can answer the rest of your questions, and then I'll probably be saying goodbye. So much information to go over. It took a long time for me to create my protocols. I'll tell you one thing, it was very expensive, but I did it all, well, for me, and then sharing it with you guys. Okay. Marina says, is about to store distilled water in plastic containers for a couple days. I mean, in my opinion, yeah, because the microplastics, it'd have to be a certain grade of polymer, meaning that it would have to be a certain grade of plastic, because there are high grades of plastic, like really, really high quality polymers that are even safe literally for babies, which I wouldn't ordinarily say that. I used to not believe that until I saw the data. So there are high grade polymers out there. It would be okay, but average plastic bottle, heck no. That's why I use mostly glass for storing them. Okay, Amy says, thank you so much. Refractor says, can you rank meats in terms of cleanliness? Like bison or some grass-fed hormone-free beef, wild caught salmon. Okay, well, all right. So, what are the cleanest of meats? Well, first, I will definitely say, definitely, like I will never eat pork in my life ever again, unless I'm like dying from starvation or something. Um, Pork is just extremely dirty. Here's what I'll tell you. I don't know if you guys have noticed this pattern yet. Even in scripture, it talks about this. To me, what is the cleanest meat? It would have to be an animal that's vegetarian. Not eating meat actually appears to keep your blood cleaner. Okay. Kind of hate to tell that to people because some people get really weird about it, but that's why you would eat something like a cow that eats grass. You don't want a cow that eats nothing but grain either, by the way. Grass, meaning vegetables, right? Deer that are vegetarian, you don't really want to eat things like pigs just eat anything. You're probably not going to want to eat a lion or a dog or a cat. You don't want to eat anything almost that either eats grains. Because look at people that eat grains. They just get, it makes you fat. The sugars, whatever. A lot of vegetables, that seems to be the animals that are the cleanest. So grass-fed beef, grass-finished beef. I'm not even a huge fan of chickens. Everybody thinks chicken meat is so wonderful for you. I mean, think about this, guys. I find this odd. In my ideal kitchen, I do not want meat in my kitchen. People come over and they bring chicken, and it kind of drives me nuts because everything it touches could make me sick. Salmonella, right? You literally can't share a knife. You can't share a cutting board. If it's in the sink, you better clean that sink. It's so dirty. Hence the reason they call them dirty birds, by the way. There's a reason that they call them dirty birds. And what do you do after you bring it into the kitchen and cook it? You flip and eat it. I mean, you do not think that there's still traces of this stuff in there. There is. And you're like, well, it doesn't make me sick. Your body has an immune response, even to the smallest of things. So it can actually be affecting you in ways that you actually don't know. By the way, earpiece out. Let me know if you guys can still hear me. If you can still hear me. As far as fish is concerned, I'm a fan of fish. I love salmon, tuna, lots of different types of seafood, actually. The problem is that these days, and thanks again for all the thumbs up. I mean, there's 23 people apparently listening, but I only got 9 thumbs up. I don't know. So easy to hit that button. But anywho, I love fish. Really great in so many ways. The only problems is that they're so polluted these days. Everything is so polluted as far as the water. It's unbelievable. Even wild caught salmon. And then if they're not wild, the stuff that's grown in like hatcheries and stuff, oh my goodness. I wouldn't want to eat something that's not wild. Hey, thanks. Somebody gave me a thumbs up. Oh, there you go. Thanks, guys. And fish, and I've seen this. I literally know people personally who this has happened. They wanted to eat seafood thinking it was much more healthy. Lo and behold, they go and get a blood test. Heavy metals. Not a good thing. So it's not that I'm not a fan of seafood. In fact, I just had some. I have it every once in a while. I just can't, I don't want to overload my system with it. And I'll drink plenty of water to flush a lot of this stuff out and neutralize it with like hydrogen and stuff. But I do love seafood quite a bit, actually. I have to fight from eating it all the time, but I do eat it once in a while. So I don't know if that answers your question, but okay. Ken Connor, thanks for the info. Greg, you're welcome. Amy Gordon, do you drink that whole thing every morning? It's the kind of questions that my friends ask and family. No, I don't drink the whole thing. I drink about half of it in the morning. And then later on at lunchtime, if I want more, I'll have more, because I'm telling you right now, you'll start getting addicted to this. It tastes so good. Personally, I think this is TMI, a little too much information, but I will just tell you, you will have the best bowel movements of your life. I've never, I've had issues with my GI systems when I was young too. Everything changed with clean water and hydrogen and these smoothies. Changed. Yeah, everything's wonderful. Okay. And actually, thanks for all the thumbs up again. I just saw more people giving them. There are 3 specialists that I just recently watched. And it's good information, though it's a terrible topic, but it has to do with hemorrhoids. And they had a surgeon and 2 doctors that were specialists in this subject. And they said that there's so many people that have them. And what did the doctors say that fixes over 80% of them without surgery? Proper intake of fiber. And even the doctor said, this was so funny, every single one of those doctors said, the only issue is humans just can't seem to consume enough fiber. They literally were saying that they thought it was impossible. So they were offering a supplement. They're like, maybe you should supplement something like this or that. But in my protocols that I've created, I do get that right amount of fiber, and I'm telling you that the differences are dramatic. If you can't afford to do hydrogen, because a lot of people are always like, well, but I want something cheap like pills or magnesium rods and sticks. If you can't do it right, I would just not do it at all, but at least get yourself clean water. Clean water is just foundational. You have to have clean water. And again, for people who want to know the system I use, it's from mypurewater.com. Discount code uprising144K. Okay, moving on. They said with the proper consumption of fiber, over 80% of people with these hemorrhoids, their hemorrhoids would literally go away. So I thought that was pretty interesting. But I don't drink the whole thing. I will finish that whole thing typically within 1 day though, or at least by the 2nd day. So sometimes if I got quote unquote lazy, I would jar some of them and I vacuum seal them. I could do it and show you guys how I do it. And then I put those in the fridge, and sometimes if I don't have them today, then I'll have them tomorrow. But I really like them fresh. That's another, here, let me give you another important tip. I was gonna do a whole video on this topic. Tell me what you think about this title. I was gonna make a video that says, how to be healthy no matter what diet you eat. You like that one? I got some really good tips to share on that. Okay, moving on. And Gardiner says, is there a specific reason you do not blend the hemp hearts into the smoothie, or do you just enjoy chewing them? One, I do enjoy chewing them because it changes the texture of this whole thing's blended. The science shows it's important to chew because activating your jaws activates digestion. So I don't want it just completely liquid. I like to activate my chewing, and I do like the texture. If I throw them in there and blended it, it's like I'm not even consuming them. And I do like the flavor, so they're very nutty. Refractor OG says, hope you're doing great, Greg. Sending you good vibes. Thank you very much. Like I said, I don't know, I've thought about doing a video about it, but a lot of painful things lately. Just too many people dying, and it's been extremely painful actually. So yada, yada, yada. Moving on. Next one, Balance says, hello from the UK. My hydrogen machine arrived today. All right, make sure to watch video 426, maybe video 388. That would be my suggestions. And 337. Jason Root says, have you evaluated the new cell? Not sure what you're talking about. Have you evaluated? I'm assuming it was evaluated. It looks like a misspelling. I don't know what the new cell is. Oh, hydrogen bottle? Okay, I've evaluated so many of these hydrogen bottles. None of them, okay, there's one problem with hydrogen bottles in general. There's a lot of problems with them actually. but it's the design. It will not work. You cannot have one of these little bottles work because they overheat. They all break, all of them. You cannot actually make them reliable. And the reason I know this is because looking into these bottles, even the very top ones made in Japan, and I reach out to these companies and ask numerous questions, even down to their engineers, and they're like, the design just doesn't work. They're just too small. They're not going to be robust enough. They always break, no matter how much quality you try to put into them. I mean, it would cost you at least $1,000 to make one of high quality, and it probably still wouldn't be good enough. And all those other ones are basically made in China. I've looked at the metal on them. I basically found out that there's, not making any claims here, but as far as I've seen, they're all using the same metal, and I know where the metal's being made. So, I mean, I'm getting tired of reviewing hydrogen bottles, and people ask me the same question a million times. If there was any good ones, I will show them to you guys, I promise. And I will know when a new one that's good comes out. Okay, Ann Gardner says, if you have chicken, chance of UTI increases dramatically. See, there you go. Interesting study on that. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Chickens are dirty, okay? They're dirty. And it's not just chickens. Animals in general are dirty. Like, I don't know if you guys know that they tested, for example, beef all over the United States, different places where they were grown. All of them, all the meat in the store that they ever tested, all the beef, always tested positive for fecal matter. Every single time. It's dirty. And then on top of it all, these things have parasites and certain types of bacteria. And if you give them antiparasitics, if you give them antibiotics, which a lot of times you pretty much have to, even if they're organic, not necessarily hormones to make them produce milk all the time. That's not what I'm talking about. We're talking about just to keep them, quote unquote, healthy and safe. We have been producing super bacteria. And there's already research showing this, that when you eat it, this is crazy, within 20 to 30 minutes, you become more resistant to certain antibiotics. There's just so many downsides. Just like seafood, as much as I like it, I limit it. I limit it. Doesn't mean that I never eat it, but I would just try to limit as much as possible. Try to get your nutrients from other places. And clean water, clean air, and hydrogen help a lot. In fact, it helps a lot with infections. For one of the guys who invented the Hydrofix, his daughter who has ALS was getting infections every week. I've known numerous people who get these chronic infections all the time. Like I knew a woman who was get like UTIs like 3-4 times a year. Got on hydrogen, stopped. Unbelievable. So it appears to help with infections. Okay, Jason Root says, uses medical, what was that? I think a bird just flew into the window. Okay. Uses medical grade non-plated metals, it says. So curious how comparable it is to Hydrofix. I don't even believe it. I'd like to know where they're making their metal, because even when you make the metal, they can claim that it's medical grade. Just like, for example, China made claims about their quality of metal that they were shipping to America. Well, thanks again for all the thumbs up. I just saw more come in. And they would make claims like, oh, this is grade A. And it would get to America and they're like, this is not grade A. So the things that we're being told, I'm just telling you right now, I've seen so many quote unquote lies about these things. I've had to do so much research and it's been really, really hard. I would want to know where it's made, first of all, because if it's made in China, I don't really trust a lot of their medical grade, high quality metals that they claim. And they're still up and coming. The Chinese have had horrible metal technology for a very long time, even to date. So, they're trying to improve, but it's going to be a while. They're not going to be improving. They're not going to have the top-notch metals within. Oh wow, more thumbs up came in. Thank you. Let me grab more. Hold on a second, and I'll keep answering your questions. Let's see here. Yeah, it was a little chunky. I should probably I talk about the health benefits of vitamin D, did you know that almost every single American, and I say almost because not all of them, but almost every single American is deficient in vitamin D? It's crazy. And if I told you some of the new data on what it's doing for the body, it's so unbelievable. But okay, Diane McKinsey says, I found a parasite in my salmon, so be careful. Yes, absolutely. I'm telling you right now, it's horrible. And it's not just fish. Meat has parasites in it. Chicken, beef, pork, all of them. It's horrible. It's so crazy. And if you have any idea how parasites affect the body, oh lordy, it is scary. I'm sorry, it is so scary. And we have them in our water, by the way. Everybody thinks that we don't have bacteria, viruses, and parasites in our water. I got the lab tests. People think that you kill everything with chlorine. No, you're not killing everything with chlorine. This is the reason. Have you guys ever heard of a neti pot that you pour in your nose and to clean your sinuses? And the people keep asking me this, and I keep trying to explain it. I feel like I'm always repeating myself. After a while, it's like, okay, don't people get it? Normal water filters, reverse osmosis, carbon filters, gravity filters, whatever. One even has a lawsuit because they were claiming that they were getting rid of like 99% of bacteria, and they weren't. Or viruses or parasites, whatever, and they weren't. So now there's a lawsuit for them. But anyway, the point is that when you use something like a neti pot, if you were to use filtered water from whatever source, and people think they're getting the greatest spring water from some natural spring or well, I'm telling you, it's not going to be as good as you think. I've seen lab tests on that stuff too. And what happened, people were using this type of water in neti pots, and I'm not kidding you, people have died. They'll get parasites, crazy stuff going to their brain. There's only one way that I have found, you can even try to correct me if I'm wrong, but I've looked at everything, how to clean not only everything out of water, but how to clean all viruses, bacteria, and parasites. And even, and this is the crazy part, because in my research, I didn't even think of this one. I didn't know that we have radioactive contaminants in our water. I did not know this. And then you put it through your sinuses. Are you insane? But that's what we do. That's what we do. The good news is that it's not expensive to clean your water. Look, I'll just show you how I'm doing it. It's right there. Carbon distiller. Super cheap. When I say super cheap, I mean they last forever, pretty much. So they're from mypurewater.com. The cheapest one is like $600 and something. And if you use a discount code uprising 144K, it goes down to like $500 and something. It's so worth it. American made, high quality metals, lab tested. You actually get clean water that you can put through your sinuses, by the way. You can use it for all sorts of cool stuff. In fact, there's a protocol I have for eyes for people with like macular degeneration, glaucoma, cataracts, yada, yada, yada. Okay. Okay, next person says, I was marinating it in turmeric, etc., and the color made visible in the dish before cooking, so I did not eat it. Yeah, I'm with you, Diane. I'm telling you that. I mean, I'm not kidding. That's just plain scary. Okay, Refractor says chlorella and fulvic plus hydrogen for that detox from heavy metals and stuff. Oh yeah, Refractor OG knows what he's talking about. And says smoothie poops are A plus 100%. Oh, they are. It's unbelievable. I mean, it truly. I was so confused as a kid because nobody would explain it to me. Like, why do I get constipated, or why do I have to push like this? Or I didn't even know that we're supposed to poop like 2-3 times a day. I mean, that when I heard that, I'm like, are you kidding me? That's insane. Nobody does that, is what I was thinking. Well, this guy does now. It's really good. Diane says, yep, digestion starts in the mouth from chewing. That's correct. That's why I like to chew on things. Anne says, what's your opinion on tofu? A lot of misconceptions about tofu, because tofu, guys, is just a bean. Okay, that's all it is. It's just a bean. Fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, and beans. In my personal opinion, there is no way that you can actually be a healthy vegetarian without beans. It's just not possible, in my opinion. Tofu is actually been shown to be highly anti-cancerous. They even did studies on it for breast cancer. Back in the day, breast cancer was basically non-existent in Japan. It wasn't until these processed foods and westernized foods came into Japan, or they would do research when somebody who was Japanese would come to America, and all of a sudden their rates of breast cancer went up quite a bit. There's a lot of misconceptions about tofu. I didn't believe. I also look. I look at data and research. I look at a lot of different perspectives, and then I do critical thinking. It didn't make any sense to me that beans would be bad for us. Everybody kept saying tofu is no good, tofu is no good. New research has finally come out. It came out about, I believe, 2 years ago. Which is extremely new. By the way, if somebody comes in or something, I gotta go anyway. I gotta go real soon. And I'm actually gonna eat some right now. These are apricot seeds. I eat some of these here and there. B17, anti-cancerous. Okay. So, simple answer, tofu appears to be actually really good for you. So I'm a fan. And I do eat tofu often, all the time. Make sure though it's gotta be non-GMO'd because they GMO the crap out of the beans that come from tofu, which are soybeans, and also corn. Boy, do they GMO that stuff. That's different. Someone named Balance says, thank you, will do. Diane McKenzie says, I have the parasite on video. Ah, yikes. Okay, that's scary. I'm like I said, it's scary. I've had a lot of cleansings that I've done, and the things that have come out of the human body that I've seen are, I don't know, it's creepy, it's scary. Diane says, only supposed to use distilled water in the neti. See? That's exactly right. I don't know what she goes, oh, neti pot. It's a neti pit. Neti pot. I add a couple of drops of CSD also. I don't know what CSD is, but I just get the distilled water, and then they have these packets of, it makes it kind of like saline, which you want. It's going to be painful if you don't do that. I've done it without the saline. It hurts. And yeah, and it's good, that little saline just to kill any potential pathogen, salt kills that kind of stuff. Amy Gordon says, be careful talking about B17. Oh yeah, well, I'm not making any claims about it, but I do take it. I can show you guys if you want. I found some really amazing B17. Hold on. Okay, there's all sorts of stuff I have here. I got all sorts of stuff that I could show you. But I really like, they don't make any claims or anything, but I really like this website. In fact, I'd have to find, what's the website? rncstore.com. I gotta say, this is the best apricot seeds because again, well, non-GMO, of course, but the biggest thing is that they're lab tested and they just go for the highest quality, herbicide-free, pesticide-free, air-dried, B17. Yeah, I'm a fan of this company. And if you want a discount on this one too, you can, and you want to support the channel, it's free. You use the code UPRISING144K. But I'm a huge fan of, I've tried so many different types of apricot seeds. These are by far the best. And the more bitter they are, the better they are. Just an FYI. Well, I can show you this too. I got some lab reports, but here's why water filters, I don't know if you guys really want to know about water filtration, but I will show you. There's actual radioactive contaminants in our water. I'm not kidding you guys. Radium, uranium, literally like plutonium. I mean, oh, these things will cause long-term health problems and including all sorts of forms of cancer. It's just horrendous. Other stuff they found in the water, lead, mercury, arsenic, nitrates. Some of these ingredients, I'm not making claims. I'll just say that when I saw lab reports on certain pills, they made me nervous because of some stuff that I saw in there. I'll just put it that. Okay, biological contaminants. This is the stuff I was talking about. We're talking about things like Giardia, E. coli. Remember, I'm talking about living organisms, guys. We're talking parasites, bacteria, viruses, cysts, spores, all types of contaminants, okay? Biological contaminants. Dangerous, dangerous stuff. I'm not kidding you. In my personal opinion, because I don't want to make claims, in my opinion, they're in our water. Now, granted, I mean, these guys tested for it. So, and then we go into organic contaminants like herbicides, pesticides. I mean, it's just so unbelievable, the stuff that's in our water. And what's more unbelievable is that people don't know. No joke. People literally don't know what's in our water. And this is a lab test. I mean, lists and lists of stuff. Look at this, pages. This is all stuff in your water, guys. Unbelievable stuff. Lists and lists. Now, the cool thing is, it'll say something like, let's see, butylate. You know, so I'll show you the amount. And what I like about this is after using the carbon distiller, how much is in there? 0. So that's why, and look at all these zeros, by the way. See how the carbon distiller takes everything to a 0? Everything, guys. Look at this. There's a reason I'm using a carbon distiller, okay? It's not just making stuff up. Third party, lab tested. Love this company that they're doing this. Any company that does good stuff, and everything that I stumbled upon is all about purity. Look at the name of this company, mypurewater.com. The hydrogen company is Holy Hydrogen, but holy apparently means pure. The Purium company, Purium, and they're super pure. I've seen the lab tests on their stuff too. They have some of the top-notch products. Anywho, alrighty then, what's next? I'm gonna go soon. Anne says, thank you so much for answering the questions. You are appreciated and loved very much. Wow, that's very, you know what, thank you. I do appreciate that. I get a lot of heat from people who don't like what I say. Let's see. Is that Richardson Nutritional? Richardson? You guys talking about this one? It's rncstore.com. Let's see. rncstore.com. And of course, discount code Uprising 144. So, okay. I don't know if that's what you're asking about. Amy Gordon says, also, where do you get the water originally before distilling and adding hydrogen? Okay, so you can literally take it. This is what's so magical about a carbon distiller. You can literally put tap water in there and it will come out this clean. That's literally what they use for these lab tests, tap water. That's why you have the carbon with the distillation, but I also have an RO system. RO systems are kind of cheap. So I take the RO water, I put it out in the distiller, and then I don't have to use the carbon part. So I don't have to keep buying those carbon filters. So I just use the RO. Latar Tiana Williams says, hi. Hi, Latar Tiana. All right, any questions? This is your chance because I'm about to hang up real soon. I gotta get rolling. Okay. Any last questions? Anybody? There's another product. Let's see here. I don't know if you guys are interested. It's pretty amazing, actually. I'm fond of it. It's on my own video, though. I literally have to go to my let me see. I gotta go to my my YouTube channel to literally find it. Let's see. I'm looking for it right now. There it is. All right. This one, I'll go grab it to show you guys. This one's this one's also from Japan. Let's see. Just grab the whole box. All right, I'm just bringing my box of goodies out here because I just have everything in a box. A couple boxes, actually. So I'll show you guys this after everybody left here. Nobody's gonna make it to the end of this video. That would be Coriolis versicolor. This is a mushroom extract, but it's done in a very specific manner. Appears to be amazing for your health, immune system, but actually appears, and this is no claims, okay, that it might have a positive effect on cancer, potentially. If you want to see that link, actually, I don't have the link, but I would say you go to hman.petclub247.com and you can get this from there. Super amazing. I really like this one too. And this is the B17 Leotril from the same RNC company. This stuff's pretty awesome too. Yeah, so, and this is one of the bottles I reviewed. I never use it because, yeah, there's no way I'm going to use that. But I just have it for showing people. Put all my stuff back in there. What else did I have for you guys? Well, and this one I already showed you. The Power Shake from my shop here. And they also have other products that are really cool. But that's the only main one that I use. Sometimes I'll get some other stuff, but not on the regular, just once in a while. But I always get that green powder because that's like my multivitamin. Okay, let's see here. Okay, Amy says, can you say the discount code one more time? It's the name of my channel, Uprising144K. So, it's interesting. Just saw something on the news. All right, let's see. Judy says, can you stream Fortnite? Play Fortnite, is that from I don't even know what Fortnite is, to be quite honest with you. Get the medallion, it gives you a shield. I don't need that stuff. Okay, I have no idea what you're talking about, Judy. So Jason, LOL. Just get the medallion. Okay, we get it, Judy. You can leave now or read the chat. Okay, you know what we should do? Maybe we're gonna just delete Judy here because, yeah, I don't know what she's trying to do. All right, let's see. How do we just remove her? Remove. Oh wait, no. Let's just block her actually. Hide this user. Put user in timeout. There we go. There you go. You're in timeout. I don't know what that's all about. Sorry, Judy. Because I don't know why you'd come in here and tell us about Fortnite. I don't even know what Fortnite is. Clearly, that's not what we're talking about. Okay, where are you from, boy? Where are you from, boy? Not sure exactly what that's supposed to mean either. All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna put this stuff away. I don't know if you guys have any last questions. I am gonna vacuum seal some smoothie. Do you guys want to see how I do that? If you guys want to see that, comment below right now, and I'll show you right now because I'm gonna go vacuum seal. It helps the smoothie stay fresh for a much longer period of time, and then I'm gonna refrigerate it. If you guys don't want to see that, that's fine. I'll just stop the video now. But maybe some people are like, hey, I want to see it. How do you do it? I don't think it's crazy complicated or anything, but some people might want to know. Oh, Amy says yes. Okay, we got a yes. Let's go ahead and show you guys how to vacuum seal the smoothie here. Okay. This is how I do it. Everything has to be fresh. So this is what we do. First thing we do is get a jar. So, what I do, pour the smoothie in here, because you know I'm going to want it later, and I want it to stay fresh. I do not fill it all the way to the top, because otherwise the vacuum begins to pull up the smoothie and then it spills everywhere. Then follow over here. I don't know if you guys can see it from there because there's no room on the counter. Can you see? Yeah, you can see it. So then I take just this lid, put it on there. Oh, it doesn't reach. Okay, let me move this. Jiminy Christmas. Move all this stuff. Okay. Let's see, can you see it? Kind of, sort of. Put it on there, lock it, vacuum. And then it stops on its own, you release. Take this off. It's all sealed now. And then I put this on top. I'm gonna put this in the fridge. And wow, I'll tell you, there's a bunch of stuff in that refrigerator that, yeah, me personally, I would not put it in there. Okay. And I'm gonna make, you guys ever seen how I do the hydrogen walnuts? You soak the nuts because it makes them easier to digest. I'm telling you right now, anything easier to digest is going to improve your health, because you don't want your body using too much energy to digest something. That's the reason that like meat is actually very hard to digest. Let's see here. Here's another one actually. This was a really great product from that hman.petclub247.com. This is a coffee that has Coriolis versicolor, so immune supporting ingredients. So that's kind of cool, because I do enjoy coffee sometimes. And then if you notice, I put these walnuts. I do walnuts because they're, again, more research shown to be anti-cancerous. I'll tell you, cancer is a horrible disease, guys. I am like, you have no idea how much I hate that disease. I hate it with a passion. That's why I, live the way I do. So for walnuts, just put some water in there, preferably hydrogen water, but if you don't have hydrogen water, then just clean water. And this is gonna go in the fridge. I do it every day like this for tomorrow. So for my smoothie tomorrow, I love you. Tomorrow. Okay. Let me put this away. Sorry, I'll be right there, guys. To read any last comments, you know what? I kind of want more smoothie. I'm gonna pour some more. Maybe I'll answer a few more questions, and then as long as I'm drinking smoothie, I'll answer questions. Let me grab some more of that. It also helps with the absorption of nutrients. It just helps with so many things. Fiber is so important. Okay, last questions. Let's see here. Says, okay, yes. Jason who says, yeah, post the link to vacuum sealer. Oh, I have a video already on that. Let me see if I can find it so you can go get the link from there. Vacuum sealer. Which video is it? So crazy. I put my channel name. It didn't even pop up. Sometimes it almost seems like they're trying to, I don't know, not let my channel show up. Okay, so that's not gonna work, is it? I literally put vacuum sealer and it pops up all sorts of other stuff. Hold on, I'm gonna find it now. Since you asked, I'm gonna look. Vacuum. There it is. Okay. Video 431, best vacuum sealer to preserve hydrogen smoothie, multivitamin freshness review. So that's video 431. I'm gonna show you, I don't know if you know how to look, whoops. I don't know if you know how to look for the videos, but first you type in Uprising 144K on YouTube, then you go to my channel page, and there you search for vacuum, but it's video 431. All the links are there. Okay. Mohammed Saleh says, hey, how you been, baby? What? Remember when we met on Grindr? No, I don't even know what Grindr is. Or is it Grinder? I remember all those ingredients you've been telling me about. Well, that's very odd. Let's go ahead and this guy doesn't seem like he's telling the truth. So let's go ahead and just, I don't know what's spammy today. Why would anybody even want to come and spam a video like this? I don't get it, but okay. Next one, Grinder. Okay, you post a link. Okay, Jason Root says, your Costco has organic walnuts? Yeah. Yeah, organic walnuts. Yep. Hey, I'm lucky. I will say that, I gotta admit, I feel like I get lucky a lot. I don't know why. Amy Gordon says, here come all the spammers. I know, it's so weird. Jason Root says, it's cool, Greg. I'll dig through them and find it later. Cool, thank you. I already told you, right? 431, yeah. Marina C says, does the water distiller need filter changed every so often? That's the cool thing about distillation. You don't really need filters. You just need to clean the machine. But the carbon part, yes, you do have to get those. Unless, see, I'm already using an RO system. So I take the RO water and put it in the distiller, so I never have to use my carbon one. So I never have to buy those. As far as if you are going to need to use them, I would ask the company how often they need to be changed, because I don't have the need to use them, luckily. If I was using straight tap water, then yes, I would need to use them. Matthew Davis says, hi. Waylon says, Waylon Bakich, how do you live stream on YouTube? I would probably Google it or research on YouTube. I'm sure there's videos on how to do it, because I'm not very good at that stuff myself. Refractor OG says, they are AI scammer bots. Oh, Refractor OG knows his computers, so I trust his opinion. Very interesting. Tony82 says, gotta have 50 subs first to go live, I think. Oh, I see. Well, why would you want to go live if you don't have anybody listening anyway, right? But okay, what's RO? RO is reverse osmosis. So there Amy put it, reverse osmosis. Muhammad Ego says, you Saesha is Frashan. No idea what that means. Alrighty then. Well, okay guys, oh, thanks for the thumbs up again. Still seeing a few of those. And yeah, I don't know. Any last questions before I say goodbye? This has been a long video. You guys literally saw my breakfast routine. I could also talk to you about nitric oxide. Everybody's been starting to talk about that. They didn't realize that almost all my ingredients in my smoothie cause the body to produce nitric oxide, which is really good for you. Not nitrous oxide, nitric oxide. Okay, I don't see too many other comments or questions. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and make a very, very healthy cup of coffee. I guess I could show you guys that too. I mean, I guess I could drink a cup of coffee. What so you do for fitness weights? Just found this. John Maker. Well, I do very, very simple stuff these days. Back in the day, I used to be really into weightlifting, even though I have a very small build. I just do very basic things like walking. I do some stretching and breathing exercises. I do very light weights and very little, but I don't rest much. So I'll do like curls, and then I'll go and do bench, and then I'll go back to curls, and then bench, and then later on I'll do But I always start with legs. So I do leg presses, and then I do calves, and then I do leg presses, calves, stuff like that. I like to keep the cardio more than just like trying to lift a ton of weights. It's more about health than it is about trying to be huge. I kind of don't want to be huge anyway. It's just uncomfortable. I've been big before, like, unfortunately. I used to be bigger, and it was very hard to maintain the size, the amount of food you had to eat, the amount of weights and all that stuff. It's more about health now than it is trying to be big, you know. I think that just came from, you know, bullies at school and insecurities and stuff like that. But Marina says, how many hours do you sleep? I mean, on average, probably 8 to 9. Definitely more than 6. Definitely less than 12. Yeah. Let's see. And I do some sauna. Steve Thompson says, sorry for the late thumbs up. I was in the sauna away from my phone. Oh, thanks. Yeah, I do the sauna also. So I enjoy that too. Do you have any definition? I got nothing. Just show your arm like your bicep. You guys want to see my bicep? I mean, does it matter? Really? Oh my gosh. Okay. I don't know if that's just one person who really wants to see my bicep. I don't know. Okay, this is me showing my bicep apparently. I have to take it out of my, this is weird, guys. Okay. So if you were to like flex like this, I guess. All right. Okay. So hopefully that satisfied your curiosity. Okay. All right, guys. I think I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna get rolling here. Oh, Riley says I am 8. Oh, I'm assuming they're saying they sleep 8 hours. That's my assumption. You know, actually, John Maker says, dang jealous, really? I don't know if I'd be that jealous. Yeah, I think it's just important to like feel good. I don't like it when my pants are like, you know, like if my stomach is real big and it's hard to tighten up. And I tend to maintain a good weight, which is nice because then clothes always feel the same. Whereas when I used to gain weight or lose it, I could definitely feel it in my clothes. Wow, I want to follow your diet, says Marina. I've shown plenty of videos of food that I eat. I could share more. It's just that I was getting so much backlash from people who were like, you need to eat this. Like, people want to tell me what to eat. No matter how good my blood work, no matter how good I feel, people seem to want to tell me what I should be doing, even though I've been through the sickness already and really helped myself a lot. Amy says, thank you for your time. You're very welcome. Riley says, Coco. Not sure what that means. Becca says, do you meal prep? No, not really. Not at all, actually. Hot. Riley says hot. Hot cocoa? I like hot cocoa. Quite a bit, actually. Somebody, 0124 says hi. I'm going to guess the ones that just say hi are the spammers. Tell me, Refractor OG, if that's accurate. You know what? I'm going to pour more smoothie now. I'm kind of craving the smoothie today. There's a light. I guess I could show you. You guys probably have no interest in this, but I guess I'll show you. It's part of my routine. So I really, really don't like wasting stuff. Do not like wasting anything. So we're getting to the end of the smoothie here, so I'm going to show you what I do. Because remember, I'm buying like top-notch produce, guys. I don't want to waste any of it. Says Kuma says hi. Hi, Kuma. Somebody says, are you Christian? Oh boy. You're gonna ask me if I'm Republican or Democrat too? Let's talk politics and religion. I definitely don't think you want to go down that road with someone like me. You probably have no idea my background on that part. Okay. John Maker says, you should do a video of arm results. What? But like straight on. Straight on? Okay. I don't know exactly what that means. Kuma says, hi. And laughy face. All right. B says, why aren't you at work? Jeez. Maria says, how old is the oldest prepared cooked food you would eat? No more than 24 hours, probably. Yeah, I try to eat it as fresh as possible. Super important. That smoothie looking good. Oh, wow, thanks. Refractor OG says, yeah, they will try to strike up a conversation, sometimes over private message, then get you to fall for their tricks. Better to not address random texts and messages, and definitely don't click links. So this is what I do with the smoothie when I'm all done. I scrape the lid, because you know what, there's still a lot of stuff on here. I literally seen people just like grab my blender and they just throw it in the sink and put tap water in there. I'm like, no, please don't do that. Like, why? Like, look how much more smoothie I can get. Why would I waste all this precious, and it's not just the fruits and vegetables, I put those special powders in here too. That Purium powder, that stuff's actually pretty awesome. I'm very impressed by that stuff. I don't know how they get it so clean either, because I've seen other organic powders, and when they test them, they still have some pesticides. I mean, it's not like they're super high levels or anything, but they're not of the highest purity. And somehow this company was able to get the highest of purity. So this is what I do at the very end. I always scrape out the pitcher. Just like so. Why? Well, like I said, too many important nutrients in here. Think about this. If I scrape it every single day, in 1 week, how much would it be? I mean, it'd probably be like, definitely a large glass. Maybe more actually, because quite a bit comes out of this thing. I kind of wish I had a different design that made it easier to scrape. Which reminds me, I'm gonna have to make my new smoothie videos. I have a vacuum blender, which I really like. And I hadn't been using it because I've been sharing my smoothie with people, which means that I have to use a larger one, which is this one. But the vacuum one keeps the produce even less oxidized, so really, really clean. It's amazing how I've been even learning more about oxygen, how it really can cause over-oxidation. That's why hydrogen is so balancing and helpful. We get way too much oxidation these days. Even our food gets oxidized. We're just like that apple that you cut and starts churning colors because it's oxidizing. You know what? Let me get a little water in this sucker. I'll be right back and I'll finish the questions. All right. Forgot the lid. Okay. All right, guys. I'm serious. I gotta turn this camera off soon. Because actually, I do have, somebody was asking about work. I do have a work appointment I gotta get to in a little bit. Okay. Let's see here. Refractor OG. Okay, so Rob Rickson says, what's a sigma lumbago? No idea, sorry. Next one, I mean, I guess I could Google it. But Steve says, this info is pure gold, thank you. You're very welcome. I mean, I do have a lot of good information that, I try to make it simple. Look, could it be better? I'm not going to lie to you and tell you that it couldn't be better. It could be better. My protocols. The thing is that there's certain protocols that get so hard, there's no way you could do them. It would take you, I'm not kidding, because I've done them. It takes like 8 hours a day. You don't got time for other stuff. Marina says, first time I see you live, really? So glad, great info. Oh, thank you. Thanks for all the thumbs up, by the way. And Riley says, gotta go. All right, Riley, see you later. Okay, before I go, let's see if we can answer this person's, dare I say, silly question. Sigma, maybe it's a spammer. Let's see what Sigma. Receptor expression is a subpopulation of lumbar instrument methods. That's Sigma. What about Sigma lumbago? I see Sigma therapy. It's used in the chiropractic industry, but I don't see anything about Sigma lumbago. Oh, the Sigma grind and lumbago. Ultimate Chapter 2 Gold Bar Location Guide? What? Okay. Maybe it has something to do with gold and chiropractic. Sigma Pharmaceuticals. Lumbago, including disc syndrome. Oh, interesting. Okay, so here, for the person who's asking the question about Sigma lumbago, do you know what it is? Or, because if you know, I guess go ahead and tell us or tell me. Or if you're asking because you don't know, then I'm looking right now. Is that a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug? Sigma lumbago. Oh no, I don't see. That's interesting. I mean, I'll have to, I don't know, research it if it's worth researching. Otherwise, I don't want to waste my time. All right, guys. I think I'm actually gonna get rolling. Gotta go. Thanks everybody for watching. Thanks for all the thumbs up. I'll give last chance. Anybody last questions? Because I'm really gonna go this time. John Maker, what do you weigh? I weigh 152 pounds when I'm literally stripped down to nothing. Because sometimes I'll get on a scale with clothes on and it'll be like 160. But yeah, when I don't have anything on, I'm about just a little over 150, 151, 152 right now, with about 9% body fat when they checked, because some guy checked. 6 feet. Somebody says, how tall are you? 6 feet. So yeah, 6 feet, 151. Like I said, kind of thin. Jealous of your fitness level? Really? Okay, thank you. I don't know if I'd be jealous, but it's not crazy. I mean, I actually try to create protocols that are super easy to do. I don't even work out much, actually. Riley says back. Yeah, I think I exercise about, I don't know, 20 minutes. It's not much. Now, if I go for walks, I like to at least do 20 to 30 minute walks. Sauna is usually 30 minutes. You got that ball shape in your arm. The ball shape in my arm? Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't focus so much on, when I was younger, it was always about like what the muscles look like and all that kind of stuff, you know, but as you know, I don't know what you would call it, whether you, as you get older or become less egotistical, like ego-driven, not egotistical, but like ego-driven as far as like what you look like. When you follow the things that make you healthy, my body just kind of fell in line. Kuma says, why don't you read my comments? I did read your comments, Kuma, but I'm starting to get the feeling that you're not real. John Maker says, what's the most you lifted, like a thing or even a person? The most that I've lifted, oh boy, I mean, geez, I think you have a six-pack. I think you're focusing on the wrong things here. There is a video, one of my buddies got me to do it. It's one of my first videos. He wanted me to show my abs, and I was like, no. And he goes, dude, people will watch the channel if you do it. He got me to do it, and there's a picture of me showing my stomach. But it just feels a little embarrassing, really, and it doesn't feel like, blah blah blah. But anyway, the heaviest thing I ever lifted, I didn't lift a lot. I'm not like crazy strong. I think the most I ever lifted was like, I don't know, 300 pounds, squats, probably. I mean, when I bench press, I think I benched like 285 or something. That was a long time ago though, because these days I don't try to go really heavy, and that's when you injure. I'm more about just getting a little bit of an exercise and the body feeling it, Can I lift a person? Yeah, I could lift a person. Do you believe in God? People keep wanting to bring in that into it. Simple answer is, I don't believe in God. I already know that God is there. I don't know if that answers your question. I guess you technically would just want me to say yes, but yeah, he's definitely there. Why do you think I'm not real? Says Kuma. I don't know, because you're not really asking any questions, actually. You're just typing in stuff, typing in things like, I don't read your comments, but I clearly am. I'm reading everybody's comments. Okay, why do you think I'm not real? I don't know. Net Edit says, do you believe in God? Oh yeah, we answered that. John Maker, can you lift a person? Kuma says, I was just asking about my music, see? John Mayer says, damn, 285. Well, that was a while ago though, so I have not even tried. Well, I mean, right now, when I do my leg presses, I do like 300 pounds, but I do a lot of them. I do 34 of them, about 4 times actually. But I do what's comfortable. I don't do what's heavy. Michael says, how do you feel about the U.S. Army? What? Is on the Russian border. Oh, geez. Sounds weird. It's a weird question to ask me too, considering this is supposed to be about health. I mean, honestly, I don't have a ton of opinions. My biggest opinion is I do think there's a bunch of corruption in the world, and I think most things can be talked out rather than fighting. And I'm a peaceful, very peaceful person, so, I don't know if that answers your question. Dancer's Lover says, hi, how are you feeling? Huh? That looks like a scammer. Riley says, I skipped school today, ha ha ha. Okay. And Amy says, this is getting any off topic. This is getting any off topic. Mr. Bademedstern says, I'll get my Hydrofix tomorrow. Wow. Super impatient right now. Oh, thanks for all you do. Greetings from Copenhagen. Copenhagen, eh? Very cool. All right, guys. Well, not too many questions. I'm going to go. Dink says, as long as you stay fit and get your cardio workout in, it's what's on the inside that matters, heart and vascular health. That's true. And almost every single ingredient, if we're researching, and I've done other videos where I literally pull it up for everybody, pretty much everything that I'm doing is good for the heart. So good for heart, good for cancer, anti-parasitic, all that stuff. Next person says, what is this channel about? Really? You don't know what my channel is about? Now I know you're not watching. Why would you? That's so weird. It's about health, hydrogen, clean water, how I got myself out of hell. Amy says, war is profit. That is why it will never end. And I agree with you, Amy. That's why it's very sad to me
It's funny, you know, they talk about all these like green movement and less pollution, but wars pollute so much. I mean, imagine all the tanks and Humvees and planes and bullets, all this just toxic garbage into the air and ultimately into the water. And they're all about, you know, not polluting. So I don't know. That kind of drives me nuts. Riley says, have you ever had a relationship and how long has it lasted? Who is this even real? I'm starting to wonder if this is even a real person. And then the next person says, I am just wondering around YouTube live shows. Oh, I see. Yeah, this one's about health. I guess you could ask any question, but you know what? Since you guys are still asking questions, this is kind of weird, but I think I'm going to make, like I said, I'm going to make my cup of healthy coffee here. Let's see here. I guess, let's see. Somebody
Was asking, have I ever had a relationship? Yeah, of course I've had relationships. Personally, there are things in life, everybody enjoys different things. Um, and some people are crazy about, I don't know, honestly, all sorts of stuff. But for me, it's sad to say, well, I think it's kind of, I mean, you could call it sad, I guess, but there's not a ton of things that I like super enjoy. You know, like some people are just really into like flowers, and some people are into farming. Everybody has different things that they like in life. One thing that I've been doing for a long time, and the reason I'm actually answering your question, the one about long relationships or relationships in general. I look at relationships. So it's funny that you asked that question because it really is not a topic on my channel. But I've even thought about making videos about it because throughout my life, I've been looking for what I would call happiness, joy. I've been looking for it for a very long time, since I was little. And the reason that I bring that up is because it took me down a strange path. When I say a strange path, a lot of things that, again, people enjoy, I just really didn't enjoy them. So I don't enjoy what the average person probably enjoys. I found I was doing a lot of self-reflection, a lot of meditation, a lot of self-growth throughout my life. And I never thought that looking for happiness would affect not only my life in such a dramatic way, but relationships of all things. Relationships. Never in a million years. I don't know why I never really thought that me doing all this quote unquote work on myself would affect relationships. So when I would get in a relationship, I would oftentimes either get a certain comment from the person that I'm with, and it's almost like the same comment every single time from different people, which is they would find a relationship with someone like me very interesting. I was always told like, oh, I never really meet a lot of guys that are kind of like me because I enjoy having deep conversations and very introspective, and my relationships are typically very positive. So they typically are, and they become very strong. So yes, I have had relationships, and I have had very long relationships. And to me, relationships, there's a lot of room for growth if you choose to try to grow. And to me, they're one of the biggest joys in life. That's for me. Like even kind of like raising children, because I think I think raising a child can be something very magical. Unfortunately, you know, I made some different choices on that end too. But let's see. Your house in the background looks so peaceful. Love the color of the couch. It's actually not my couch, nor my house, but thank you for that. It is nice. I like it too. Apparently the owners don't. They want to get new couches, new everything. Okay, Amy says, I think the longer your live video, the more spammers will find it. Oh, that's a good point, Amy. Riley, John Maker, I was boarded. I was boarded. I think you're right, Amy. I guess I probably should go, actually, then. Thanks, everybody. No more questions. We'll see you guys next time on the next one.